Meet the Atlas team. David, the sponsor and VP of Digital. Maya, the project manager. Priya leads data. Alex owns back-end engineering. Sam runs front-end. Jordan owns security. Taylor leads QA. They just finished the project Kickoff, and it went well. It went well. Real decisions were made. Real commitments were spoken out loud. And now you are sitting at your desk with 3 pages of notes that look like this. Somewhere in here are risks that need a register, action items that need owners and dates, and a responsibility matrix the team expects by tomorrow. That is 3 separate documents, 3 different formats, and if you are being honest, about 2 hours of work. Most PMs open a blank spreadsheet and start copying and pasting. By the time they finish the risk register, the action items are already stale. Today, we are going to do all 3 in 10 minutes. 1 paste, 3 documents, live on screen. Here is what we are building. 3 documents that every project needs after a kickoff. First, a risk register. Not a wish list of things that might go wrong, a structure table with likelihood, impact, owners, and mitigation actions. Second, an action log. Every commitment made in that room with a name, a date, and a specific deliverable. No vague continue back-end work. Third, a RACI matrix. Who is responsible, accountable, consulted, and informed for each major deliverable. Built from what people actually said, not guessed at after the fact. The input for all 3 is the same, meeting notes. We are not going to write 3 separate prompts from scratch. We are going to have one conversation with the AI. Each document builds on the last. Let me show you. Here is the prompt. I am using Claude, but this works the same way in ChatGPT or Copilot. The tool does not matter. The structure does. Notice the format. I am telling it exactly what columns I want. Risk ID, description, likelihood, impact, owner, mitigation, status, and source. The last line is important. I am asking it to find risks that were discussed and risks that are implied but not stated. That is where the value is. A PM reading those notes would catch the obvious risks, the data mapping issue, the legacy APIs. But what about the QA environment not being ready until Sprint 3? That is a schedule risk hiding in a side comment. I paste the meeting notes below the prompt. No cleanup, no formatting, raw notes exactly as I wrote them. Let me send it. 7 risks in about 15 seconds. Let me walk through what it got right and what needs your judgment. Risk 1 and 2 are the obvious ones. Legacy APIs and the data format issue. Both came directly from the meeting. Owners are correct. Mitigation actions are specific. That is solid. Now look at risk 6. Analytics team understaffed, schema sign-off at risk. That came from the side conversation after the meeting. The AI caught it because I included the full notes. Most PMs would have left that out of the register. Risk 3 has no owner. Change management for 200 users and nobody was assigned. The AI flagged it as unassigned. That is your first follow-up action. Here's what needs your judgment, the likelihood ratings. The AI defaults to medium when it is uncertain. You were in the room. You saw Priya's face when she talked about the address formats. That is a high, not a medium. Adjust based on what you observed. That is the pattern. The AI builds the structure, you bring the context. 90 seconds of generation. 5 minutes of review and adjustment. That is your risk register. Same conversation. I do not start over. The AI already has the meeting notes and the risk register in context. This prompt asks for the action log. Notice I am asking for dependencies, not just tasks and dates. That column is what separates a useful action log from a to-do list. I am also asking it to include actions implied by the risks we just identified. Risk 3 had no change management owner. That should become an action item. Assign a change management lead. Let me send it. 8 action items. And notice something important. The AI connected the dots between the risk register and the action log. Action 4, assign a change management lead, was not a commitment from the meeting. It was generated because risk 3 had no owner. The AI saw the gap and created the follow-up. Action 7, confirm the schema sign-off date. That came from the side conversation. The AI remembered it and turned it into a tracked action with a specific timing. Now look at the dependencies column. Action 3, the API contracts, depends on Action 1, the cloud security review. These are not isolated tasks on a list. They are linked. One thing to check, the due dates. The AI pulled dates from the meeting notes where they were mentioned. Where they were not, it used sprint references. You may need to convert those to specific dates based on your calendar. 2 documents done. Same conversation, same notes. Let us get the third, the RACI. This is where most PMs spend the most time because you were guessing at who said what. But the AI has the transcript. It maps the assignments based on the actual conversation. Look at the change management row. Maya is listed as responsible because no one else was assigned. The AI did not invent an owner. It put the PM as a placeholder and flagged it. David is accountable for change management because he is the sponsor and it affects end users. That is a reasonable inference from his opening statement about customer impact. One thing to verify, the consulted and informed columns. The AI makes reasonable assumptions, but you know the working relationships better. Maybe Sam should be consulted on data migration because the front end displays that data. That is a judgment call. 3 documents, 1 conversation. The meeting notes went in once. The risk register, action log, and RACI came out connected to each other. Risks generated actions. Commitments generated RACI assignments. Total time, about 10 minutes of AI generation and review. That same work, done manually, is 2 hours on a good day, 3 documents done. But here's what the AI did not do and cannot do. It did not read the room. When Priya said the schema sign-off date was optimistic at best, she said it privately, after the meeting. The AI processed her words. It did not see her face during the meeting when the date was agreed. You did. It did not weigh the political context. The security review is due March 14th. If Jordan is late, does Maya escalate to David immediately or give it 2 more days? That depends on relationships the AI knows nothing about, and it did not decide what to escalate. The QA environment is not ready until Sprint 3. Taylor raised it as a risk. But is it worth flagging to the sponsor now, or do you absorb it and revisit at the Sprint 1 review? Those are judgment calls. They are the reason the PM role exists. The AI built the scaffolding. You do the thinking. 10 minutes of AI generation. 10 minutes of review and judgment. 3 documents that would have taken 2 hours. That is the trade-off. The meeting notes did not change. They are still messy, unstructured, and full of side conversations. What changed is what you do with them next. 1, paste into any AI tool. 1 conversation that builds 3 connected documents. Risk register, action log, RACI matrix. Each one informed by the last. AI handles the formatting, the structure, and the cross-referencing. But it cannot have the sponsor conversation. It cannot read body language. And it cannot decide which risks to raise and which to absorb. That is how you turn raw kickoff notes into the 3 documents your project needs. Take the notes from your next kickoff. Paste them into Claude, ChatGPT, or Copilot. Ask for a risk register first, then an action log, then a RACI. See what it catches that you would have missed. If you like this video, hit the thumbs up button and subscribe to the channel. Every week, 1 practical video that moves you forward. Next time, how to write a project charter with AI, from a blank page to a finished document in 15 minutes. Practical AI, 1 workflow at a time.